You'd think Formula One is all about split-second decisions, cold-blooded precision, and million-dollar machines running like clockwork. But sometimes, F1 is just dumb. Hilariously, unbelievably dumb. Because in between the legendary victories and ruthless rivalries, there are jetpack guys falling from the sky, world champions wandering off to their yachts mid-race, and drivers quite literally forgetting what team they drive for. And the craziest part? Every single one of these moments actually happened. Let's dive into the funniest, most ridiculous, and straight-up unbelievable moments in F1 history. Fernando Alonso becomes a cameraman. Let's kick things off with the man, the myth, the meme, Fernando Alonso. It's the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. The skies are moody, the track is slick, and Alonso's McLaren decides it's had enough. The car breaks down during practice, leaving him stranded trackside. Most drivers would sulk, maybe throw a helmet, but not Fernando. Instead, he strolls up to a nearby camera crew, flashes that "why not" grin, and starts operating the camera himself. Yes, a two-time world champion turned into Spielberg for a moment, framing shots like he was shooting Drive to Survive, the prequel. Commentators are losing it, the pit wall is confused, and the fans, they're loving it. Alonso's camera career didn't last long. He handed it back and walked off like nothing happened. But for a brief, glorious minute, we all witnessed the birth of Fernando's cinematic universe. And that was just the warm-up. Jetpack guy eats dirt. Formula One has always been about innovation, but maybe not like this. At one Grand Prix, because someone thought Top Gun and racing should mix, a man was flown in as part of the pre-race entertainment. Not by helicopter, not even by car, by jetpack. At first, it looked awesome. He zipped around above the grid like some kind of futuristic superhero. But then, physics happened. One of the engines gave out, mid-air. The man nosedives like a character in Mario Kart and slams into the track in a tangle of limbs and gear. The crowd gasps. Marshals sprint. And every driver waiting in the garage is probably thinking, yeah, I'll stick to four wheels, thanks. Thankfully, the guy walked away mostly fine. But let this be a lesson. Just because you can fly a jetpack over an F1 track doesn't mean you should. The spin that ruined a celebration, winning a Formula One race is hard. Celebrating one should be the easy part, unless you're Vittorio Brambilla. The 1975 Austrian Grand Prix was a wet, wild mess. Cars slipping everywhere. The track more like an ice rink than a circuit. But somehow, Brambilla kept it together and crossed the line first. Victory secured. Applause everywhere. So naturally, he punches the throttle in celebration and immediately spins the car. Yep, seconds after winning his very first Grand Prix, Brambilla lost control and slammed into the barriers. A perfect 180. The ultimate "I did it," followed by "oops." He wasn't injured. But instead of soaking in champagne and glory, he finished the race facing the wrong way, literally. Sometimes the only thing trickier than winning is knowing when to stop driving. Hamilton's championship slips into the gravel. Let's talk about one of the most heartbreaking and facepalm-worthy moments in F1 history. Chinese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, just a rookie, is on the brink of something huge, his first world championship. All he has to do is finish strong. But McLaren makes a call, a bad one. Despite his tires being completely destroyed, down to the canvas, they leave him out for lap after lap after lap. Eventually, Hamilton dives into the pits, or tries to. But his car, now gripping the track about, as well as ice skates on a water slide, slides straight into the gravel trap at pit entry. He's stuck. Marshals try to push. Fans are screaming, but the car's not going anywhere. And just like that, his title hopes vanish into the Shanghai gravel. It was the first retirement of his F1 career, and probably the one that stung the most. A single bad strategy call. One tiny error, and the rookie sensation goes from champion-elect to what just happened. Hamilton forgets what team he's on. Let's stay with Lewis Hamilton for a second. Fast forward to 2013. Hamilton's now racing for Mercedes after a long, successful run with McLaren. But mid-race at the Malaysian Grand Prix, old habits kick in. He pulls into the pits. Except, oops, he accidentally drives into the McLaren garage, his former team. The McLaren mechanics freeze. The Mercedes guys are baffled. The audience, laughing. Hamilton sits there for a split second, clearly thinking, wait, something feels off. Then he zooms out like nothing happened. Even the commentators couldn't hold back. One of the funniest, most human mistakes we've ever seen in F1. Because when you've spent over a decade doing pit stops in the same box, muscle memory doesn't care about your new contract. Inoue versus the safety car, round 1 and 2. If there's one driver who could turn the safety car into an enemy, it's Taki Inoue. Let's rewind to 1995. Monaco Grand Prix. Inoue's car breaks down during qualifying. Nothing unusual. So the marshals hook it up and start towing it back. But as they're dragging it through the circuit, the safety car shows up and crashes straight into Inoue's car. The impact flips it completely over, like a scene out of a bad action movie. Luckily, Inoue wasn't in the cockpit, but his day ruined. Now, most drivers would never experience anything like that again, but not Taki. Later that same year in Hungary, his car catches fire. So he does the responsible thing, grabs a fire extinguisher and runs over to help. Except he forgets to look both ways and runs straight into the path of the approaching safety car. Boom! He's knocked flat onto the hood like a cartoon character. Limbs sprawled, extinguisher flying. Somehow he walked away from both incidents. But to this day, no driver in F1 history has had beef with the safety car like Taki Inoue. Kimi Räikkönen ditches the race. For his yacht, some drivers complain over the radio when their car fails. Kimi Räikkönen, he just leaves. 2006 Monaco Grand Prix. The Iceman is racing hard when his McLaren suffers a mechanical issue. Most drivers would head back to the paddock, debrief, maybe yell a little. Not Kimi. He calmly hops out, removes his helmet, and strolls away, straight to the harbor. A few minutes later, he's spotted shirtless, chilling on a luxury yacht with a drink in hand, while the race he was just in is still going. No drama, no panic, just Kimi being Kimi. The broadcast couldn't believe it. The commentators were laughing. And the fans? Legendary moment. In a sport full of overthinkers, Räikkönen proves sometimes the best post-race analysis is done with your feet up on a boat. The dumbest qualifying session ever. And finally, they're one of the most face-palm-inducing strategic fails in modern F1. Italian Grand Prix 2019. Final qualifying session, Q3. Now, timing is everything in Q3. Drivers want to be the last ones across the line to get the best track conditions, so naturally every team waits and waits and waits. Then with just seconds left on the clock, they all send their drivers out in a massive pack. What follows is pure comedy. Everyone is trying to be last, no one wants to lead the group. So they slow down, try to overtake each other, pull off the racing line. It's chaos. Suddenly, the timer's about to hit 0, and one by one, cars miss the line. They don't start their final laps in time. Only Carlos Sainz makes it. The rest? Too late. No final laps, no improvements. Just a bunch of elite drivers looking like a group project that forgot the deadline. Fans were confused. The commentators were dying laughing, and social media had a field day. It was F1's version of musical chairs, with 1,000 horsepower involved. From drivers filming their own documentaries to race winners spinning out of control, Formula One has no shortage of legendary moments. But sometimes it's the mistakes, the bizarre, the hilarious, the what even was that moments that make the sport unforgettable. Because behind the engineering, the data, and the fireproof suits, these are still just humans. Really fast, ridiculously competitive humans, doing very dumb things at 200 miles an hour. Which moment was your favorite? Or better yet, what's the funniest F1 moment you've ever seen? Drop it in the comments. Hit that like button if you laughed. And subscribe for more motorsport, chaos, legends, and wild stories you won't believe actually happened.